Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our webcast, Surviving the Retail Battlefield. My name is Rob Lunder. I work on the marketing team here with Edge by Essential, and we're very excited to bring you today's presentation. I'm very excited to introduce today's host, Doug Kuntz, who's Director of Content Strategy and Analytics for Edge, and Doug will lead us today in today's presentation. Doug, over to you.
Thank you, Rob. As Rob said, my name is Doug Kuntz, and some of you probably in the past few months have seen, are familiar with Edge by Essential and the rebranding efforts that have gone on there. Well, Edge Retail Insight is really the go-to-market intelligence and insights arm of Edge by Essential. And our goal is to equip customers for growth in a digital world. And we help businesses really understand where to play and how to win. And effectively what that means in this very complicated and very fast moving very fast moving landscape is helping people make more confident decisions, helping retail businesses prioritize their resources and investments, making sure that they are where the growth is, that they are preparing for the disruption, and ultimately finding profitable growth. And so what we're going to talk about today is really how we do that and some of the things you might want to be thinking about as well. We're also really excited to show off our new Edge Retail Insight platform, and in particular, really new kind of one-of-its-kind data tool called the Retail Market Monitor that I'll get into in just a moment here. But as we talk about equipping customers for growth in digital retail, we do that with a combination of data, which obviously we'll show, of insights and research and expertise. And I couldn't leave out our analyst experts who sit all over the world and are really experts in this space. We have people that are experts in the German market and working with Aldi and Lidl and discounters all over the world, all the way to people that are equipped to help you better understand working with Amazon or Alibaba. So it really does range from the most legacy store-based customers and themes in our industry, all the way to the most cutting-edge e-commerce and digital players. And so where I want to start today is with data, because I think ultimately that's how we make decisions, and that's what everyone on the line really needs to confidently change strategy, confirm strategy, or adapt strategy. And our data is really designed to inform market sizing and planning. It's used to monitor industry developments. If you are in a strategy or insights role, this data is going to be relevant and usable for you. If you're in some sort of sales, customer-facing, business development, commercial role, whether that's on a store-based account team or an e-commerce account team, this data is going to be relevant to you. And so we have people from account management teams all the way to chief customer officers that use this platform. And so I hope what we'll showcase today you'll find relevant and usable. Our data, to begin, and I'm going to jump into this tool in just a moment here. Our data, we cover about 2,400 retailers all over the world. That's the biggest players from Walmart and Amazon and Carrefour, all the way down to convenience operator in Indonesia or a discount player in Argentina. So if you, regardless of where you operate in the world, there's a pretty good chance that the data that we have is going to be relevant to you. And beyond those 2,400 retailers, we are covering about 9,000 banners. So banners to us, it's the difference between a Walmart Supercenter and a Walmart.com and a Walmart Neighborhood Market, for example. And all of this data is, of course, segmented by store-based retail versus e-commerce, even within e-commerce by first-party versus third-party sales. So you think about the difference between a Walmart.com or a Target.com and an Alibaba. It's also segmented by channel and format. So discounters, convenience, super centers, hypermarkets, you name it. And all of this data really exists to inform the decisions that we're making. And so one of the reasons that we're talking about this today is because we're really proud of a new tool that we introduced that is probably a little different from a lot of the insights and data analysis tools that you've used in the past. And we call it the Retail Market Monitor. Really what the Retail Market Monitor does is it makes data much more accessible and customizable. And so as I kind of move through our website here, I'm going to hover over this data analytics tab. And what you see here is we've built all of these pre-populated dashboards that are frequently used views to help inform decision making with the data that sits behind the scenes here. And so I'm going to click on the first one, Retailer Dashboard, and what you'll see is all of our data that's refreshed in real time. So as it's refreshed, you're seeing the most accurate data on the platform here. And as it loads, you'll see at the top all these filters that I can click, and actually it'll drop down and allow me to filter by retailer, by banner, by channel, by format, by product category. So whether you want to look at all the markets in Asia, whether you want to just look at the United Kingdom, whether you want to just look at Alibaba versus JD.com, you really have the flexibility to do that. And so I'm gonna just scroll down here for a moment. You can see some of the powerful views that are enabled by these charting tools. And what's really cool about these tools in particular is not only does it start to bring the data to life in a way that perhaps a lot of other platforms don't, it's also extremely customizable. So right now we're looking at top 10 banners globally, right, in this one chart here. I'll come up here and I'll actually filter it. Let's say I just care about the United States. Well, I can actually filter. I can actually filter for just the United States. Oh, typo. Can't type today. Oh, it's because I'm on retailers, that's why. Apologies. And as I do this, what you're going to see as it filters, it's going to automatically update the data that we showed in that sheet. And so I came up here to the top and hit run, and what's going to happen is all of this data is going to refresh, and you'll see it as it happens. All of these things will auto-populate, and as it loads, the other thing that I think is really powerful. Oh, sorry, my misclick let us down here. The other thing that's really popular is it is also extremely customizable beyond just the country or the retailer or the region that you're looking at. And so as it loads, I can also go in here and hover over, and there's actually these buttons that say explore from here, and you can drill into much more targeted into the data that sits behind here. So I can actually go in and change the visualization. If I want to move from a stacked bar chart to a bubble chart, I can do that. If I want to change the retailers, if I want to change the years I'm looking at, I can do all of those things. I can even go in here and change the colors if your brand or if your marketing department and branding team is really important that, I want this to reflect the Walmart blue, I can actually go in here and customize this so that the Walmart blue is shown on the screen. And so what you see here is now we went from a top 10 global banner list down to a top 10 US banner list, and you see some of the usual suspects here. And I'm not going to dive into it all, but I will click explore from here and just show you some of the power that sits behind here. And what we like to think of this is almost a blank canvas to customize your research, right? So if you want to ask a very specific question, you can do that. Now you see the visualization that we just came from the other page. You see all these other filters that we have options: channels, countries, years, banners, you name it. But that's only a small subset of the possible things we can filter. So I'm not going to do it in front of you all, but I encourage you to look at the left side of the screen here, and you see banners, channels, countries, a long list of ways to filter this data, and also a long list of potential types of measures. So we can look at e-commerce, we can look at store-based, omni-channel, we can look at just online sales, we can look at just store sales, we can look at a whole sales per square foot, a whole bunch of different metrics that you might want to look at as you'd go about your planning process. And so I'll show you, like I said, we think of it as almost a blank canvas. I'll show you what that blank canvas really looks like. You could, in theory, you could start here and actually customize this to whatever you wanted to. And you can see grocery, non-grocery, whole bunch of different metrics here to pick from. I'm just kind of scrolling through a lot of them, whether it's store metrics, online metrics, there are product category metrics. It really, whether you are a regional sales leader looking at assessing market growth across Asia, or whether you work on a local customer team in Japan and just want to see your retailer and the operations of that retailer and potentially your product category within that really gives you the power to do as high level or as low level as you want. And like I said, it's downloadable, it's extremely customizable, and what our users really use it for is some of them are using it daily or weekly. If you're in a strategy or insights role, perhaps you're frequently asking yourself these type of questions. Other people might use it 1 or 2 times a year because, you know what, this becomes really relevant when we're doing our account planning or preparing for our top-to-top meetings or building our 3-year strategic plan. And so it really does range depending on your role or function, but the tool is extremely flexible and the data is constantly updated so that you can really use it whenever you need to and align it to your own business use case. Now, because of time, I could talk about data for a lot longer. We'll give you plenty of opportunity to look at a few other things and more ways to get in touch with us in just a few minutes here. But I do want to move on to, I mentioned the insights and reports that complement all of this data. So before I do that, I did just want to call out, there's, you saw kind of a high level retailer dashboard that we call. So the top retailers globally, the top banners globally, and then we filtered that for the United States. But there's also dedicated retailer profiles and retail and market profiles. So if you want to just look at Walmart, if you just want to look at the United Kingdom, those profiles exist for you there. And then we've also set up what we call dashboard quick views, which are really common use cases. So hey, I want to compare channels. I want to compare channel size and growth. I want to look at e-commerce growth and the leaders there. How is e-commerce growing compared to store-based? These are common questions that we all know you are working through, and also that our own analysts are frequently helping to answer. And so we're actually constantly updating these things to create quick and usable views that you can just filter for whatever you need for your own personal question, and then download and slip into either your own presentation, download the raw data itself, and put it into a spreadsheet and start to do your own deeper data analysis work. So it really is quite a flexible tool. And you see the range of data types that are represented here, whether it's retail trends, whether it's population, whether it's consumer and shopper trends, or some of those the retailer and channel and e-commerce figures that I mentioned to start. But as we move on to the more qualitative piece of our research, I should say that we have analysts, once again, that sit all over the world that are building reports and research on the retailers, on the channels, on the markets, and just as importantly, I think, on the thematic challenges of our day. And so that might include how retailers are adapting stores, what we call the store of the future, and what that means for both competitive retailers as well as brands. How you might go about first expecting change, and then how you might prepare and adapt and work within that change. Our research is really built around 4 key pillars, which we call 4 winning strategies. And I'll show you those winning strategies. It's really this 4 winning strategies are what we consider to be the defining challenges of our time. This is what it takes to win in an e-commerce driven world, in a digital world, whether you still operate in stores or whether your business is online. We think that the winning brands and retailers of the future will work to prioritize these 4 themes. That's store of the future, that's e-commerce and digital ecosystem management, that's supply chain and fulfillment, and that's shopper engagement and retention. And store of the future may seem sort of obvious. It's about how retailers are adapting their stores and how brands can support that. It's about e-commerce is obviously about building an entirely new ecosystem online and new digital touch points, new routes to market. Supply chain and fulfillment, of course, how do those things intersect? How do we use and leverage all of these assets to ensure not only growth, but profitable growth, right? It's not actually difficult to see high growth numbers online, but it's really difficult to make money doing so. And so supply chain and fulfillment really enables a lot of that. And then shopper engagement and retention is about, with all of these digital tools, with all of these new routes to market, with all of these intermediaries, things like social media, things like payments, think even Google and Facebook. How are we communicating with shoppers in new ways? How are we encouraging loyalty in new ways? Because certainly digital technology and e-commerce has completely disrupted how we've historically kept in touch with consumers and how we've incentivized them to come back to our stores and continue to grow their lifetime value. And so those are really the 4 themes that our research is focused on. But like I said, we're covering retailers, we're covering markets, we're covering channels, as well as some of these really big themes that are the strategic challenges of our time. And so our research is really designed to identify problems, to give you the data behind those problems, and then to help make recommendations and offer solutions to those challenges. And so give you just a couple examples of what that looks like. Show you one retailer example and show you one more thematic example, what we call winning strategies and capabilities. And so I'm on the landing page of a Walmart planning snapshot right now. And this retailer snapshot is designed to give you a quick look at the data and strategic priorities of Walmart so that you can better prioritize your business. And so you'll very frequently see frameworks used across our research. And in this case, with these retailers, it's really built around how do you prioritize resources and where you should focus. And I should say that again, it's built leveraging that retail market monitor tool that I mentioned. And so throughout this research, here you go, Walmart at a glance, you get a sense of the scale of the data, both the markets, the banners, the total retail growth. You could see store figures. and Walmart priorities. So, hey, what are the big things that Walmart's working on that I should make sure are in my plan if either I'm a competitor of Walmart or I'm a customer of Walmart, or even I'm not on the Walmart team, but I'm on the Target team or the Carrefour team, or the Carrefour is a poor example, but on the, a competitive team. What is my competitor working on, so that when I go to my customer, when I go to Target, I can have a more well-rounded and educated conversation. But then really a lot of this research is designed to help you focus in on where they are prioritizing, and therefore at a global level why you might want to prioritize there as well. So whether that's markets, whether that's categories, whether that's banners or channels, you get a good sense of, hey, what are the strategic priorities of Walmart, and how do I best align my business to that? And we're producing about upwards of 50 of these a year on customers, retailers from all over the world. And what's powerful about it is you'll see as we scroll through here, there's data that's derived from the Retail Market Monitor, but you'll notice you can always go in and actually filter this yourself. So it can direct you to the chart. If you know what, I actually only care about Latin America, or I only care about Asia, or I only care about the US. Well, actually, we give you a really quick and easy way to go in and filter for the geography or the operation that you care about, with all of this global context as a background as well. And so what's powerful is you can start really high level, but really step it down all the way into the places that you really play and the areas that deserve focus for you. And so you would frequently see retailers covered. Let's see, we just produced research on Walmart, on Aldi, on JD. Jet.com actually has its own dedicated piece of research coming out in just a week or so. And so we're frequently updating these things, and the data is constantly updated as well. And so from a channel perspective, a retailer perspective, a market perspective, if you're in the basically account planning business and the prioritizing of resources business, these reports are going to be really relevant, enable you to quicker get to those big questions and then make sure that your business is aligned to them. And then the second part that I want to highlight is really what we call winning strategies and capabilities. So this is just one example of a key capability, a key topic that we're working on and focused on, is building a direct-to-consumer business. But I just as easily could have focused on, let's say, some in-store themes like digital integration and how retailers and brands are using technology to improve the in-store experience. I could just as easily have picked something we call rethinking front of store, which is really just how is the checkout changing? How is that having an impact on the way shoppers move through the store, what they buy in the store? How do we recreate opportunities for impulse? I just as easily could have pulled up our research on cross-border commerce, cross-border e-commerce, or on winning with third-party marketplaces. And so what our winning strategy and capability research really tries to do is get at the big themes, the big problems and challenges that we know the entire industry is facing, provide not only the data and frameworks to think about how this issue is evolving, but also really clear recommendations about, hey, you know what, if you're ready to dip your toe in this water, these are some things you might want to think about, or these are some best practices that we've seen that you might want to borrow from. And so I'm going to just scroll through here for just a moment, but you get us there you go. You see those 4 winning strategies again, and direct to consumer really affects a lot of them. But on the left, you can see the table of contents, what this looks like, right? Not only recommendations for suppliers if you're trying to build a direct-to-consumer business, but understanding the direct-to-consumer landscape. Who's doing it? Why is it important? What are the benefits? What are the things you need to do it well? What goes into really building a successful direct-to-consumer business, and what are the key decisions you make that you need to make if you're going to get one up and running, and ultimately what are the things you need to be good at, where do you focus, and how can you learn from other people's mistakes or successes as you build your own. And so you get a sense for the range of research that exists in here. I'll show you kind of how we think about this issue. Right here you go. We try to ground everything in data. And so, hey, what is the investment that's going into direct to consumer? How successful is direct to consumer right now? Whether that's digital native brands or whether that's the big incumbent brands that everyone's familiar with and many of you probably work for. What is the momentum we've seen around direct to consumer? What are the benefits and what are the challenges that come with direct to consumer? And again, we won't be able to walk you through this entire theme, but how do we think about a successful direct to consumer business? What are the things you might need to offer to deliver that? And ultimately down to, okay, what are good examples of direct to consumer businesses? What can we learn from them and what can we apply to your business? And so I'm hoping that you're getting the sense that not only does this Edge Retail Insights platform provide intelligent insights, but it's really designed to give you actionable recommendations, actionable data that you can then go truly do something with. And so everything you'll see on this platform is downloadable. Everything, if you're a user of Edge Retail Insight, we encourage you to take this and slip it into your own presentations. You know what? We have lots of people that some people might use this for internal education, their own education. Some people might say, you know what? I'm trying to tell people why this topic is important. I'm going to grab 3 slides from this because it really helps illustrate the point, right? So whether it's a big education process, whether it just saves you time, whether it helps you make decisions, whether it helps plan and prioritize resources, our goal at Edge Retail Insight is to help you grow in digital retail, whether that's store-based, whether that's online. For us, it's about how those things intersect and the new capabilities that you need to win there, the new sources of growth, both identifying those and being able to effectively have the skills and tools to take advantage of it. And so as I wrap up here, I'm going to pass it back to Rob in just a moment, but I wanted to just call out a couple smaller things that tend to get skipped over. We're also constantly tracking the news developments from around the world. So we all know everyone's got a day job, everyone's focused on plenty of other things. How are we supposed to stay on top of the latest developments, either in my industry, either in even to the retailer account that I work on or the market that I work on? Well, there is a news service here that's part of the Edge Retail Insights subscription that I'll show you what it looks like, but it's very searchable, and we're just constantly putting the most important developments from around the world up on this platform. And it's a tool that allows everyone to just stay up to date on the latest developments. Similarly, hey, how can I, it's really searchable, it's really filterable. You can see here, you can search by retailer, by country, by topic. And you can also access our latest webinars and our upcoming webinars and register for them. So I would say more than once a week, we are typically talking about a key issue. So let's see, unlocking category management best practices in an e-commerce driven world is upcoming next week. You can see some of the things we've just done in January. So Amazon monthly briefing that happens every single month. You can look at a recipe for winning the digital shelf, addressing the omni-channel challenge. If something big happens in the industry, we're going to be covering it. And if there's a big theme that we know others that people are working on, we're going to be covering it. And so with that, obviously there's a lot that sits behind this. it's impossible to do it all justice in 30 minutes, but what I hope it did was give you a sense for the range of resources, data, and capabilities that come with Edge Retail Insight. And I haven't even begun to talk about really the expertise and what our analyst team from all over the world can offer. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Rob, who's gonna wrap us up here.
Thanks, Doug. Great presentation. I've had a number of questions come in, so really appreciate everybody's engagement. We won't have time, unfortunately, to answer all, but we will make sure that any questions that we do not answer today, we'll make sure to get back to you right away. And really quickly, before we get into the Q&A portion of today's program, in addition to our virtual webinars, we also have an awesome schedule of in-person events and programs that we want to share with you going forward. And two of those upcoming include our advanced retail strategy program that is being shown on the screen now. Would very much like to invite you to that program. It's in partnership with the UCLA Anderson School of Management Executive Education on March 19th and 20th on campus in Los Angeles. And this is an exclusive 2-day immersion program for brand and retail leaders across functions, taught by leading UCLA Anderson School of Management business professors, edge advisors, and industry practitioners. And the whole goal of this is that it provides the perfect blend of theory and application to analyze and operationalize the latest strategies critical to winning the future of commerce, and each attendee receives an official executive education program certificate upon completion from UCLA Anderson. And for this event, there's limited seats available, so definitely do register soon if you are interested. You can either reach out to your Edge partners or register directly via our website where it's listed under the events tab. Additionally, you can contact us at info@essentialedge.com, and we will make sure to get back to you that way as well. And second, we've been hosting our Amazon hackathons in the US and Europe over the last 2 years, which are full-day summits dedicated to winning on Amazon.com. We will continue those events in the spring and fall 2019, but are also very excited to announce our first ever Walmart hackathon taking place March 26th in Bentonville, Arkansas. You can see that on your screen right now. This is an exclusive Walmart-centric masterclass summit designed for U.S. e-commerce business leaders and consumer goods to learn hands-on, share best practices, hack new challenges and opportunities, and accelerate their growth with Walmart. And again, for this event, very much running out of seats for these as well. Early bird tickets just got released. So if you are interested, you can either reach out to your Edge partners directly, register on the website under the events tab, or again, contact us directly at info@essentialedge.com. So with that, I will move into the Q&A portion of our program. Again, very limited time, so any questions we don't answer, we will make sure to get back to you right away. Had a bunch of questions come in. So again, thank you everybody for your questions. Doug, first question that came in, where is the data sourced from? Can you talk a little bit more about the sourcing of that data?
I can. So all of our data is originated from public sources where possible. So for example, Walmart, as part of their 10K and 10Q, is obligated to provide a certain level of data on sales and stores and those sorts of basic figures. And so it's all grounded in that information, but the work that our analysts really do is to take these small pieces of data and to break it down into much more granular data. And so that's how you turn 2 pieces of data from Walmart into, let's say, 20 different banners across their operations in just Latin America. And so we actually have, if you're interested in the much more detail of that, we have an FAQ and a methodology document that we'd be happy to share. The reality is a lot of this data is not publicly available, and so when that's not available, we are using our own internal methodology, estimation, lots of benchmarking, industry best practices, and also the relationships that we have with the industry as well to designed to build as accurate a historical view and forward-looking forecast as possible. And so you'll see data from 2005 all the way to about 2025 on this platform if you wanted to go that far back or that far forward. And what I'd say is we've got because of the way that our customers use this data, they're also constantly interrogating it. And so it's constantly making the data better. It's constantly making our methodology stronger, and for the biggest retailers, we're updating it at least once a quarter, plus as any kind of development would mandate. So someone gets acquired, any M&A activity, announcements of new strategic priorities, any of those sorts of things would also trigger forecast updates as well. So there's plenty more. I obviously skimmed over the highlights, but there's plenty more methodology that goes into the forecasting and the breakdowns, which I'm happy to share with you following this call.
Thanks, Doug. Another question that came in, excuse me, can you set up retailer-specific dashboards and then pull them up without resetting or recreating them?
So right now, you can set up retailer-specific dashboards, and I actually hinted at those retailer-specific dashboards sort of towards the end of the call when I shared. Let me see if I can go back to it as we talk about it. Right now, in coming to our customers soon, this is sort of a new launch of this new tool. So right now there are retailer dedicated dashboards, what we call retailer profiles. So it's going to, as it loads, this is going to show you Walmart first, but you can obviously filter it for any of the 2,400 retailers I mentioned, and you can customize these things. But what's coming is an ability to kind of create your own dashboard from scratch and then permanently save it. So right now that is not a functionality that this offers, but soon it will be a functionality that you set this up once and customize whatever you want here, and every time you come back to it, it'll be there waiting for you.
Great, thanks, Doug. A couple of similar questions came in that I actually can answer. Are the webinars recorded to watch on demand or just live? Yes, all these sessions are being recorded, and we will make sure after the webcast to send you the webcast recording, and then in webcast where there is a presentation deck that's shown, we will also send you that as well. So a couple of questions that came in around
actually,
that.
Rob,
yes.
if I could add to that really quickly. Yep. So obviously we work with a global customer base, and we have people that sit all over the world, both in our teams and our users. There's no time zone that's perfect for everyone, and so everything is recorded. The guarantee is if you register for it and you can't attend for whatever reason, you'll get a follow-up email that has not only the recording but also the deck that was presented.
Great, thanks, Doug. Another question, Doug, that came in, how specific within the product categories can you get? Can you do this by brand?
You cannot do this by brand. Our data goes down to what we literally called the product category level. And so that data is good for sizing. So for example, when we say product category, we mean health and beauty versus edible grocery versus household care versus consumer electronics, so on and so forth. Office. I can actually show you the product categories in just a moment here. What it's great for is sizing markets and sizing retailers and sizing banners for your category. So, okay, who are the top health and beauty players in the US, or who are the top health and beauty players in Indonesia that I'm not working with? What it's not particularly effective for is brand specific views, because we don't have that level of granularity right now. It is, for the record, there is more category analysis that we can do through our advisory business, and we can get you more information about that as a follow-up. But like I said, it's best utilized for sizing of categories more than your brand versus a competitor's brand.
Thanks, Doug. So that'll conclude today's Q&A. We've run out of time. Again, there were some more questions that came in, so we'll make sure to get back to everybody whose question didn't get answered today due to time constraints. And as Doug said, we understand that everybody is located around the world, so we make sure to send the recording and presentation deck of each webcast to you. And if you're unable to attend, we'll make sure to send that to you as well. So again, we want to thank Doug. Doug, thank you for today's presentation. Very much appreciate everybody who joined on the line. We hope you found today's session beneficial and how the Edge Retail Insight platform can really revolutionize and really help grow your business both in the short and long term. So again, want to thank everybody. Doug, again, thank you. And again, if anybody would like to be in touch and require any additional information from us, you can reach out to us at info@essentialedge.com, and we'll make sure to get back to you immediately. Thank you, everybody. Hope everyone has a great day and look forward to speaking with you soon.